wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights and authentic information.
New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next hour. India's Prime Minister focused on development works across a wide range of sectors and changing lives during his 5-day visit beginning Monday. Shehbaz Sharif will take oath as 24th Prime Minister of Pakistan, who will lead a coalition government for a second time. US Vice President Kamala Harris to meet with a member of Israel's war cabinet in Washington to discuss humanitarian aid, urges Hamas to agree to immediate ceasefire. South Korea, US troops kick off annual drills over North threats. Pyongyang calls them rehearsals for a nuclear war. And on to the top story. This Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi begins his 5-state visit to Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, West Bengal and Bihar from Monday. He will launch developmental projects worth around $12.8 billion with major focus on the power sector. He will visit Bhavani, the Bharatiya Nabhikiyan Vidyut Nigam Limited in Tamil Nadu. Bhavani has developed the nation's first indigenous fast breeder reactor in Kalpakkam, Tamil Nadu. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya reports for more.
In a significant stride towards energy independence and sustainability, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to witness a historic event, the initiation of coal loading at the nation's first indigenous fast breather reactor in Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu. Developed by Bhavani, the Bharatiya Navikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited, this prototype fast breather reactor or PFBR marks a remarkable step forward in India's nuclear power program. What sets this reactor apart is its unique capability to produce more fuel than it consumes. This groundbreaking feature paves the way for self-reliance in fuel supply for future fast reactors, aligning perfectly with India's 3-stage nuclear power program, which emphasizes a closed fuel cycle. But it's not just about energy production, it's about doing so responsibly. With minimized nuclear waste and advanced safety features, prototype fast breather reactors offer a safe, efficient and clean source of energy. They are not just power generators, they are contributors to the goal of achieving net zero emissions. Later in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address a public meeting in Chennai, underscoring the importance of this milestone in India's energy journey. This event symbolizes India's commitment to a sustainable and secure energy future.
This milestone at the Kalpakkam fast breeder reactor signifies India's commitment to nuclear power advancement with the potential to lead in thorium utilization and achieve self-sufficiency in fuel supply. It also underlines India's strides towards clean and efficient energy production, bolstering its position in the global nuclear landscape. With camera person Jayashankar, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu.
Well, after being elected as the Prime Minister of Pakistan, again, Shehbaz Sharif will be administered the oath of office on Monday. Nawaz Sharif's younger brother, 72-year-old Shehbaz, will lead a coalition government for a second time. Shehbaz was the consensus candidate of the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz and the Pakistan People's Party, receiving 201 votes, 32 more than what was required to become leader of the House in the 336-member parliament. A report.
Finally, Sunday saw progress in government formation in Pakistan. Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz PMLN President Shehbaz Sharif was elected as the 24th Prime Minister of Pakistan. PMLN, along with their coalition partner, the Pakistan People's Party, PPP, secured 201 votes in the National Assembly on Sunday. PTI-backed candidate Omar Ayub Khan secured 92 votes.
रिजल्ट अनाउंस करना चाह रहा हूं मियां मोहम्मद शहबाज शरीफ साहब has secured 201 votes.
Shehbaz Sharif, in his speech, recounted the achievements of his elder brother Nawaz Sharif during his tenure as Prime Minister.
God willing, we will make Pakistan a great country and move forward with our heads raised with pride.
Sunday's session of the new parliament saw ruckus and sloganeering with the PTI-backed lawmakers accusing the government that the February 8th election was rigged. Khan's lawmakers won the most number of seats on February 8th despite a sweeping crackdown against his Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI party that forced its candidates to run as independents and being debarred from holding rallies. The unusually delayed results also triggered accusations that the vote was rigged. The new government will have to immediately start talks with the IMF as the current IMF agreement expires in April. Sharif and his party will also have to deal with growing discontent over deepening poverty in the South Asian nation. Tanvi Taneja for DD India.
And the Vice President of the United States is due to meet with a member of Israel's war cabinet in Washington later today to discuss how to get humanitarian aid into Gaza. Kamala Harris and Benny Gantz are also expected to talk about the need for a temporary ceasefire. According to Gantz's office, he will also meet U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Our U.S. correspondent Jagriti Dave has more.
Officials from both sides have confirmed that the meeting is taking place. In a statement, Benny Gantz said that U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, as well as a bipartisan group of congressmen and women, would also be attending. A White House official said that Vice President Harris would be expressing her concern for the safety of around 1.5 million Palestinian people seeking refuge in Gaza.
And given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire for at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently on the table. This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in. This would allow us to build something more enduring, to ensure Israel is secure, and to respect the right of the Palestinian people to dignity, freedom, and self-determination.
The White House is coming under increasing pressure to help broker a ceasefire, as well as secure the release of the remaining Israeli hostages captured by Hamas. All of this comes to the backdrop of fragile ongoing truce talks, as well as an airdrop of humanitarian aid over the weekend in Gaza by the Biden administration, while the United Nations is warning that the Palestinian people in Gaza are on the verge of a famine. Jagriti Dave in Washington reporting for DD India.
Well, shifting focus, U.S. presidential candidate Nikki Haley won the Washington, D.C. Republican primary on Sunday, her first victory in the nominating process and a symbolic win for the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. She still faces near impossible odds in a quest to win the Republican nomination to take on likely Democratic nominee President Joe Biden in November. Trump won the first 8 nominating contests by significant margins before losing to Haley in America's capital city. Haley, the only remaining challenger to Donald Trump in the race, won 62.9% of the vote versus 33.2% captured by the former president. On Tuesday, voters in 15 states and 1 U.S. territory will caucus or go to the polls on the biggest day of nominating contest in the presidential primary. Known as Super Tuesday, 874 Republican delegates will be up for grabs. And a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launches 4 astronauts to the International Space Station for NASA on the Crew 8 mission. Crew 8 is the 8th crew rotation mission of SpaceX's human space transportation system and its 9th flight with astronauts. Over 200 science experiments and technology demonstrations will take place during Crew 8's mission of approximately 6 months in space. Experiments will include using stem cells to create organoid metals to study degenerative diseases, studying the effects of microgravity and UV radiation on plants at a cellular level. And Haiti's government declared a state of emergency on Sunday following violent clashes in the capital that led to 2 prison breaks. In order to restore order, the government has imposed with immediate effect a curfew throughout the West Territory for a renewable period of 72 hours. An unknown number of prisoners escaped after armed gangs stormed in the main prison in Haiti's Port-au-Prince on Saturday. This comes after a major gang leader, Jimmy Cherezia, called on criminal groups to unite and oust Prime Minister Ariel Henry. The violence in the Caribbean country is expected to escalate further as the gang leader has warned people to stay indoors. Amidst the ongoing violence, the exact whereabouts of the Prime Minister remained unclear on Sunday. Ariel Henry had been due to return from a visit to Kenya, where he signed a security deal to tackle gang violence. And the Australian government is hosting 3-day special ASEAN summit from Monday in Melbourne. The summit marks the 50th anniversary of Australia, becoming the association's first dialogue partner. 9 Southeast Asian leaders were due to take part in what is billed by local media as one of the biggest diplomatic gatherings in Australia. The leaders hope to forge strong security and economic ties. Security is tightened in Melbourne's Convention and Exhibition Centre. The 3-day summit will provide an opportunity to further strengthen partnerships through events centred around key focus areas that are business, emerging leaders, climate and clean energy and maritime cooperation.
The stakes are clear. We know that a major conflict in our region would be devastating to our communities and economies, as the terrible conflicts in Gaza and Ukraine have shown. So we all have a responsibility to shape the region we want to share, peaceful, stable and prosperous, a region in balance, where each country can pursue its own aspirations, where no country dominates and no country is dominated.
Well, Philippines leader Ferdinand Marcos Jr. arrived in Melbourne on Sunday to attend the special summit. Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim also arrived in Melbourne in Australia on Sunday. Cambodian leader Hun Manet too arrived in Australia on Saturday to attend the ASEAN special summit. And still to come on DD India News Hour. France to hold final vote on including abortion in constitution. Ecuador's La Cumbre volcano has started erupting. We'll tell you the details ahead. And Romanians mark the arrival of spring with the tradition of Babele until 8th of March.
Kerala encapsulates the emotion of India with its vibrancy and diversity.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on. Rescue workers completed operations on Sunday after a drone strike on an apartment building in the southern city of Odisha, finding 4 more bodies and bringing the death toll to 12. Sunday was declared a day of mourning in Odisha. Dozens of apartment buildings sustained damage. The drone crashed into a residential building in Odisha on Saturday. President Volodymyr Zelensky said casualties could have been avoided if Ukraine had not faced delays in arms deliveries. Also, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday said political will was required to ensure that Ukraine secures the military supplies it needs, or the world will face one of the most shameful pages of history.
Вдалося тільки за цей тиждень збити.
The main thing is political will that is needed to implement this all, to provide precisely the level of supply that could help. If this is not the case, it will become one of the most shameful pages in history. If America or Europe will lose to Iranians, Shahids or Russian fighters jet, Russian evil should not be encouraged either by weak decisions or by delay in supplies or indecisiveness.
Кожен з партнерів.
Well, Turkey has expressed hope for a ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said this on Sunday at the end of a diplomatic forum in the southern city of Antalya. The forum also saw a rare high-level encounter between a European Union member state and Russia. Slovakia's Foreign Minister Huraj Blanar held talks with Russian counterpart, a move widely criticized by Slovak opposition. DD's Faiz Khan reports for more.
The 2-year-long conflict between Russia and Ukraine may see a glimmer of hope for resolution, with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan stating that discussions for a ceasefire in Ukraine are set to commence soon. The Turkish Foreign Minister made these remarks at Antalya Diplomacy Forum. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov too visited Turkey for Antalya Diplomacy Forum. He also held talks with other European leaders. A senior member of Slovakia's government met his Russian counterpart on Saturday.
We don't hide that we certainly prefer to do business with countries who, like Slovakia now, like Hungary, some others who put priority to the national interest as the elected government perceives those interests.
It was a rare high-level encounter between a European Union member state and Russia. It was criticized by the opposition. However, Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico said the meeting was an example of Slovakia's balanced foreign policy.
I fully support this balance. I knew about this meeting and recommended the minister to meet the Russian minister, even though I can already see the screaming characters in the opposition and liberal media.
Despite peace efforts, situation on ground remained volatile. Russia launched fresh missile strikes at school and apartment in the East Ukrainian towns of Mirnohrad and Pokrovsk on Sunday, in which 6 people were injured. On Saturday, a Russian drone crashed into a residential building in Odessa, destroyed several apartments and led to the death of 10 people. Faiz Khan's report for DD India.
Well, Germany has accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of trying to sow disunity with the wiretap leak of a confidential German army discussion on the Ukraine war. Germany's Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said on Sunday that Russia was conducting an information war aimed at creating divisions within Germany. Russian media on Friday published a 38-minute recording of German Air Force officers discussing support for Ukraine, prompting Russian officials to demand an explanation. The discussions also cover the use of long-range missiles provided to Kyiv by France and Britain. Pistorius said he was not aware of any further leaks at the army. He added that he would await the result of a military probe into the case to decide what consequences to draw.
The incident is clearly more than just the interception and publication of a conversation within the Air Force. It is part of an information war that Putin is waging. There is no doubt about that. It is a hybrid attack aimed at disinformation. It's about division, it's about undermining our unity. And accordingly, we should react to it with particular prudence, but no less determinedly.
Es geht jetzt auch darum, hier Putin nicht auf.
Well, in Poland, protesting farmers blocked all 6 border crossings to Ukraine on Sunday. The move comes after months of protest by Poland's agricultural workers against cheap Ukrainian imports, threatening their livelihoods. Polish protesters continue to block all traffic at border crossing points, stopping all trucks from the crossing. The farmers put forward many demands, including 2 main ones: the abolition of duty-free trade with Ukraine and the complete closure of the Ukrainian-Polish border for trucks. This was the 4th incident in recent days. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said earlier this week that Warsaw was in talks with Kyiv about temporarily shutting the border, although the Ukrainian side denied his claim. And French lawmakers will meet today to hold a final vote on inscribing abortion into the Constitution. French President Emmanuel Macron convened a special Congress of National Assembly representatives and senators in Versailles after both houses of the parliament approved to enshrine the guaranteed freedom to abortion into its constitution. If the proposition garners a 3/5 majority in the special Congress, France will become the world's first nation to constitutionalize abortion. The move followed a U.S. Supreme Court decision that reversed the ruling that recognized women's constitutional right to abortion and opened the door to states to ban the procedure. And major protests have erupted against deteriorating living conditions and economic decline in Tunisia. Thousands of raged protesters demonstrated against the living standards in Kasbah Square in front of the Prime Minister's office. The protest is first in months to defend social dialogue, condemn the restrictions on union rights and inflation. The Tunisian General Labour Union, which has about 1 million members, had been a critical voice after the arrest of activists, businessmen and journalists since President Kais Saied seized most powers in 2021. And a 5-day faculty exchange program with the participation of foreign service academies of BIMSTEC member countries began on Sunday in Dhaka. During the exchange program, diplomats from BIMSTEC member countries will offer proposals to enhance mutual cooperation among the foreign service training institutions within the South and Southeast Asian sub-regional platform. 13 faculties of foreign service academies from 7 members countries of BIMSTEC are participating in this program. And some weather updates now. The United States National Weather Service has issued a wild wind advisory on Sunday for Nevada, northwestern Arizona and California's Death Valley, with winds expected to reach up to 56 kilometers per hour. As high winds blew through parts of the state, dozens of tumbleweeds could be seen rolling across a desert road in Paharam in Nevada. Also, Ecuador's La Cumbre volcano has started to erupt on Sunday. Images taken showed lava moving through Saturday night. Gas emission and thermal anomalies were detected through satellite systems by the Environment Ministry. However, there's no immediate danger since the area is uninhabited. The volcano last erupted in 2020 following several years of activity. And as floods wreak havoc in northern Bolivia, the country's armed forces were mobilized to deliver aid. Officials reached the flood-isolated areas in canoes, distributed supplies such as food, water and medical aid to flood victims. 570 families from 14 communes have been forced out of their homes and into shelters from the region, while nationwide 15,000 families have been affected. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Relatives and friends remember the missing passengers from Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 on Sunday, which vanished 10 years ago en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing on March 8, 2014. At the remembrance event, Malaysia's Transport Minister Anthony Loke said the government is pushing for a renewed search for the plane. Previous investigation did not result in proper answers for the victims. Two horses belonging to United States Cleveland escaped from the stables on Saturday before galloping down to one of the longest highways in the United States. The incident led to some traffic in the already congested roads. The two horses were eventually recovered. No accident or injuries were reported. Thailand's Mekong River, one of Asia's longest river, inhabiting rare species, is in decay, and almost 1/5 of fishes were facing extinction following drastic depletion. A new report by USAID Wonders of the Mekong Conservation Group published on Monday has said. It highlighted hydropower dams as the biggest problem as they alter river flow, change water quality and block fish spawning migrations. However, wildlife experts are saying the river can still be saved if there are immediate and continuous efforts taken. Romanians are marking the arrival of spring with the tradition of Babele until 8th of March. Traditionally, people chose a day starting on the first day of spring, and the weather on their chosen day is set to determine their nature for the rest of the year. The custom has its roots in pre-Christian times but has endured through the ages. And still to come on DD India News Now. South Korea says to start legal action against doctors over walkout. Devotees throng in Bangkok to pay homage as Lord Buddha's relics last day of exposition there. And we'll tell you more about Northeast India Film Festival 2024, which opens in Manipur.
Welcome to the fascinating world of Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Unravel the rich history. And traditions of these places. Marvel at the stories that lie in its beautiful architecture. bask in the tranquility of its greenery and beaches. Experience the agelessness of its traditional handicrafts and handloom industry. Recognize its industrial leadership and celebrate Dio's commitment to a sustainable future.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Khurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Indian Prime Minister's focus on developmental works across a wide range of sectors and changing lives during his 5-state visit beginning Monday. Shehbaz Sharif will take oath as 24th Prime Minister of Pakistan, will lead a coalition government for a second time. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris to meet with a member of Israel's war cabinet in Washington to discuss humanitarian aid, urges Hamas to agree to immediate ceasefire. And South Korea, U.S. troops kick off annual drills over North threats. Pyongyang calls them rehearsals for a nuclear war. And moving on, South Korea plans to start legal proceedings that could lead to punishments for doctors who have walked off the job and disrupted health care to protest a plan to increase medical school enrollment. The country's Vice Health Minister, Park Min-soo, told a briefing that the government would take steps to suspend the medical licenses of some 7,000 trainee doctors who had left their jobs. And South Korea and the United States began their annual spring military drills on Monday with a focus on heading off North Korea's any potential use of nuclear weapons. The 11-day Freedom Shield exercises come as North Korea continues to test various missiles and other weapon systems and develop its nuclear capability. It is the first since Pyongyang scrapped the 2018 Inter-Korean Military Pact in November. The drills will be tough and realistic and based on scenarios that reflect lessons learned from recent wars and conflicts. North Korea has accused the allies of stoking tensions with military drills, calling it rehearsals for a nuclear war. Seoul and Washington say the exercises are defensive in nature and meant to respond to the North's threats. Well, DD India correspondent Chris Gilbert joins us from Tokyo in Japan for more. Well, Chris, can you tell us what is the significance of the Freedom Shield exercise, particularly in the current scenario?
Well, this is the continuation of a pledge that South Korea and the US have made to boost their bilateral exercises and continue to deter Pyongyang. But just a bit of clarity on something that was mentioned in the intro, that this is the first Freedom Shield since Pyongyang backed out of a de-escalating agreement with South Korea last November. The context for that is actually that South Korea made the first move. It wasn't done in a vacuum. Seoul was the agent that began suspending clauses in that de-escalating agreement to try and increase its surveillance at the DMZ in response to North Korea launching a missile. As you can see, all of these actions, including Freedom Shield beginning today, have a deep context that needs understanding, and it's kind of a spiral as both sides respond to missile launches, satellite launches, war drills with this kind of tit-for-tat responsive behavior. It's yet to be seen if these Freedom Shield exercises that begin today, that are held every year, will be responded to by Pyongyang with any kind of missile launches. They have preferred over the past year rhetoric and ally building with Russia over missile launches. But for now, the US and South Korea believe that while no talks are ongoing, that these kinds of military drills are the best option out of a whole bunch of bad options at deterring Pyongyang from continuing to improve its ballistic technology and continuing to improve its nuclear arsenal.
Okay, they consider it as a good option, but North Korea calls it rehearsals for a nuclear war. What are the likely moves of North Korea as its rivals are holding elections this year? The US presidential election in November, South Korea's parliament election in April.
I think the political change that is ahead is an important point. The current leader of South Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol, who is not up for presidential election, the General Assembly is, but when he was running for president 2 years ago, he did not rule out a preemptive strike against North Korea, which is a far cry from his predecessor Moon Jae-in. The possibility for political change in the US, especially should Donald Trump become the Republican candidate, is tremendous, and it's no doubt something that Pyongyang is going to be watching very closely. It also has to be remembered that the country which is parking nuclear submarines in the neighborhood is the United States. That is not an action that has been taken by Pyongyang. Pyongyang is, the capital, is the government that has the US parking nuclear subs in Busan right on its doorstep. However, it is the country that is, continually breaching UN Security Council resolutions which forbid it from using ballistic technology. But, the umbrella over all of this is, as experts have told me, that the possibility of a large-scale conflict, remembering that war is actually happening at the moment, there is no treaty between the two countries, but large-scale conflict is very unlikely. There's no interest from South Korea or the US in provoking an actual conflict, and that North Korea is very unlikely to want to do that, considering how outgunned it is. The far scarier possibility, political scientists here tell me, is the possibility of political collapse inside North Korea and the power vacuum that may create between powers on the Korean Peninsula. But at the moment, we do have the standoff, we do have the saber rattling, and it looks like these tensions and these kinds of tit-for-tat responses are going to continue.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for that information from there. And moving on, Prime Minister of Thailand, Srettha Thavisin, attended the ceremony to invite the Lord Buddha's relics and the Arihant's relics in Sanam Luang, Bangkok on Sunday. Thousands of devotees to gather to pay homage on the last day of exposition in Bangkok. From the Thai capital, the relics will go to Chiang Mai city in northern part of the country for 4 days on Tuesday, that is 5th of March. Then the relics will be taken to Ubon Ratchathani in northeastern Thailand on March 10th for next 4 days, and then to the beach town of Krabi in southern Thailand on the 15th of March. Concluding a historic and spiritually enriching exposition in the Southeast Asian country, the sacred journey will culminate on the 19th of March, with the relics being escorted back to their respective homes in India. Also, India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has expressed delight that a large number of Thai people are attending the historic and spiritually enriching exposition of relics in Thailand. In a tweet, he posted pictures and said, and I quote, "Deeply moved to see 1 million Thai devotees pay respect to the Buddhist holy relics which travelled from India. Our shared heritage and culture is a bridge that creates a special bond," unquote. He also thanked the Ministry of Culture, Government of India, Embassy of India in Thailand, and International Buddhist Confederation for their efforts. Well, India's Minister for Minority Affairs and Women and Child Development, Smriti Irani, on Sunday launched a Hajj Guide and Hajj Suvidha app for the convenience of Hajj pilgrims. In the Training of Trainers program organized by the Ministry of Minority Affairs at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi, addressing the program, Smriti Irani said that the Narendra Modi government has taken several steps in coordination with various ministries to provide better facilities to the Hajjis.
नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार ने हर विभाग के समन्वय से हाजियों की सुविधा को और भी सुदृढ़ करने के लिए और भी मजबूत करने के लिए मिलकर समन्वय के माध्यम से कोऑर्डिनेटेड एफर्ट में कुछ कदम उठाए हैं। सऊदी अरब में आज एक दृष्टिकोण है, वो इस बात से संभवतः समझ में आता है कि पिछले साल जो महिला हाजी गई बिना महरम के, उनकी संख्या लगभग 4,300 की रही है और इस साल उनकी संख्या बढ़कर 5,160 के भी ऊपर चली गई है।
Well, the Indian Navy is set to witness a significant surge in its maritime prowess with the induction of the Sea Hawks. The Indian Navy will commission the newly inducted MH-60R Sea Hawk multi-role helicopter on Wednesday at INS Garuda in Kochi. The Sea Hawk squadron will be commissioned in the Indian Navy as INAS 334. The helicopters are a part of the 24-aircraft FMS contract signed with the US government in February 2020. The helicopter is designed for anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface warfare, search and rescue, medical evacuation and vertical replenishment. The induction aligns seamlessly with the Government of India's visionary goal of ensuring security and growth for all in the region. Also, the Indian Navy is all set to convert its temporary setup at Minicoy in Lakshadweep Islands into a full-fledged naval base on 6th of March. It will commission Naval Detachment Minicoy as INS Jatayu in the presence of Navy Chief Admiral R. Hari Kumar. The Navy will now deploy some of its assets in the Minicoy Island and will also base personnel there permanently, which was not the case earlier. The event marks an important milestone in the Navy's resolve to incrementally augment security infrastructure at the strategically important Lakshadweep Islands. INS Jatayu is the second naval base in Lakshadweep after INS Rakshak in Kavarati. Minicoy is the southernmost island of Lakshadweep, 215 nautical miles southwest of Kochi. And the 5th edition of joint military exercise Dharma Guardian between the Indian Army and the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force is underway at Mahajan Field Firing Ranges in Rajasthan. Scheduled from 25th of February to 9th of March 2024, the exercise is an annual event alternatively held in India and Japan. The aim is to foster military cooperation and enhance combined capabilities for joint operations in semi-urban environments under Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter. The exercise emphasizes physical fitness, joint planning, tactical drills, and special arms skills. Well, an Indian delegation will present a copy of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita to the Parliament of Sri Lanka as part of the International Gita Mahotsav on Monday. The three-day International Gita Mahotsav concluded at the Neelam Pakuna Theatre premises in Colombo on Sunday. On the last day, devotees witnessed a Sadbhavna Yatra in the form of Perahera in Colombo. In Sri Lankan traditions, Peraheras are bright and colourful pageants or processions which include drum beaters, dancers and tuskers. It is the 5th such occasion that the International Gita Mahotsav was organised outside India and the first time ever in Sri Lanka. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. India's Ministry of Home Affairs on Monday handed over Bengaluru's the Rameshwaram Cafe blast probe to National Investigation Agency. On 1st of March, at least 9 people were injured when a blast took place at Rameshwaram Cafe in Brookfield in East Bengaluru. Under the banner of India's ruling political party, BJP, Shakti Vandan Run is scheduled to take place across 988 districts in the country from Monday. This three-day event aims to promote fitness and underscore the significance of women's empowerment. The run promises to be a vibrant and spirited occasion. In an effort to give a boost to indigenous innovation and defence production, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will inaugurate DefConnect 2024 event on Monday. DefConnect 2024 will represent a significant milestone in the country's defence innovation landscape. And the event will also attract a large number of innovators and investors from India's leading industries in the defence sector. Manipur Governor Anusuya Ueke inaugurated the Northeast India Film Festival 2024 at Manipur State Film Development Society in Imphal. The Northeast India Film Festival is collaboratively organized with the sponsorship of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting by the Directorate of Information and Public Relations, Manipur Film Forum Manipur, the Art and Culture Department, and Manipur State Film Development Society and Thauna, Manipur. India's western Himalayan region witnessed intense rainfall or snowfall till Sunday, impact of which is visible in the plains across Delhi NCR. Due to cold winds and rain, the air quality has also improved, with Delhi's AQI being recorded at 126. The Meteorological Department has predicted cloudy weather in Delhi on Monday and Tuesday as well. A snow martial arts training camp has been organized by Sports Academy in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir's Budgam district. The camp aimed to promote snow martial arts in the Kashmir Valley, bringing together martial art enthusiasts from across the district. And still to come on DD India News Hour. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will inaugurate a conference with focus on tackling tax evasion. LeBron James creates history by becoming the first player in NBA to score 40,000 points. And in football, Phil Foden's heroics leads Manchester City to a 3-1 win over Man United in the Premier League clash.
Traditional world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khuranan. On to some business stories now. Council of Ministers brainstorms on vision document for Viksit Bharat 2047, a detailed action plan for next 5 years. According to sources attributable to Government of India, a 100-day agenda for immediate steps also worked upon for quick implementation after formation of the new government in May 2024. The roadmap for Viksit Bharat, or Developed India, is a result of more than 2 years of intensive preparation. It involves a whole-of-government approach involving all ministries and wide-ranging consultations with state governments, academia, industry bodies, civil society, scientific organizations and mobilization of youth for seeking their ideas, suggestions and inputs. More than 2,700 meetings, workshops and seminars were held at various levels. Suggestions of more than 20 lakh youth were received. The roadmap for Viksit Bharat has a comprehensive blueprint with clearly articulated national vision, aspirations, goals and action points. Its goals include areas like economic growth, SDGs, ease of living, ease of doing business, infrastructure, social welfare, etc. An Indian government recently released a fact sheet pertaining to the Household Consumption Expenditure Survey for the agricultural year 2022-23. As per their report, for the base year 2011-2012, poverty lines for rural and urban India were Rs 789 and Rs 967, while for year 2022-23, poverty lines for rural and urban India are Rs 1,452 and Rs 1,752. The poor percentage dropped to 2% in 2022-23 from 12.2% in 2011 to 2012. And India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will inaugurate a conference of enforcement chiefs of all state and central GST officers to tackle tax evasion on Monday. In the conference, goods and services tax formations will deliberate on combating GST evasion, including examining current challenges and delving into successful methods adopted by central and state tax enforcement officers. The conference will also balance ease of doing business and discuss striking a crucial equilibrium between facilitating a smooth business environment and implementing effective and deterrent enforcement measures. And Japan's benchmark Nikkei stock average breached the 40,000-point level for the first time and touched a new record high on Monday. The Nikkei opened up 0.73% at 40,201.76 before rising by 112.88 points in mid-morning trade to notch a fresh record high. Japan's technology shares helped pull the Nikkei above 40,000, boosted by the ongoing artificial intelligence rally in U.S. stocks, which once again pushed the S&P 500 and NASDAQ to record highs on Friday. And U.S. congressional negotiators on Sunday unveiled a package of 6 government funding bills ahead of a shutdown deadline at the end of the week. The legislation sets a discretionary spending level of $1.66 trillion for fiscal 2024, a spokesman for Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said. The 1,050-page bill lays out in detail funding for 6 of the dozen segments of the government that Congress is charged with allocating money for, with the next 6 due by later in the month. While the top leaders of Congress have agreed on the deal, it still faces some challenges, notably opposition by hardline Republicans in the House who have repeatedly called for sharp spending cuts and typically do not vote for spending bills. The House will have to vote on the bill first before the Senate can take up the package before Friday, Schumer said. The House is due to return to Washington on Tuesday. And British Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt sought to dampen speculation about big pre-election tax cuts in this week's budget, saying there had been a worsening in the economic outlook, but he hinted at some help for the voters. Hunt told the Sunday Telegraph that the forecast that underpinned the budget have gone against us, referring to last November's fiscal update. Hunt said that we don't have as much of a positive outlook as we had at the end of the autumn statement. He said there was a long path ahead to bring down Britain's highest tax burden since World War II. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sports update. Phil Foden's heroics kept Manchester City's Premier League title challenge on track with a superb 3-1 home victory over Manchester United on Sunday. Foden arrowed a sublime effort into the top corner in the 56th minute, and the England forward then produced a clinical finish with 10 minutes of normal time remaining. Erling Haaland, who missed a golden first-half chance, secured the points with a late strike. Reigning champion City, with an unbeaten run in all competitions of 19, moved to 62 points, one behind leaders Liverpool, which it visits next weekend. United remains in 6th place with 44 points.
He is right now this season, yeah. I've been the best so far. Always had the feeling to score goals in the training sessions, always had the feeling. But now he's winning games. So he lives to play football, but now he's winning games. He played a first 9 in Bournemouth. It was unbelievable. Today, after he missed the first chance against Onana, he became a little bit anxious, and that is for the age. Being effective or ineffective, that is not the question. The feeling that he's aggressive to try to score. That's why he has become a really important player for us and for national team from England.
Well, LeBron James made history by becoming the first NBA player to reach 40,000 career points. He achieved this remarkable milestone during the Los Angeles Lakers home game against the Denver Nuggets. James sealed his place in basketball history with a scoop layup off the glass in the second quarter. The sold-out crowd at the Staples Center erupted in cheers as James reached the historic mark, offering him a standing ovation as he took a moment on the bench to soak in the achievement. And New Zealand captain Tim Southee might be tempted to recall retired pacer Neil Wagner to the side for the second and final test against Australia following an injury to fast bowler Villororque. The host side suffered a crushing 172-run defeat in the opening test on Sunday, and skipper Tim Southee said the door was not shut on Wagner, who had bid a tearful adieu to international cricket last week after taking 260 wickets in 64 test matches. Southee, however, was sure that pacer Trent Boult, who last played in a test in June 2022, won't play the second game in Christchurch. And Devney Charlton of the Bahamas is again the sole owner of the women's indoor 60-meter hurdles world record after the 28-year-old blazed to a time of 7.65 seconds at the World Indoor Championships on Sunday. The 28-year-old from the Bahamas beat the previous mark of 7.67 she shared with American Thea Jones. Charlton broke a record that had stood for 16 years when she won the Millrose Games on February 11th before she equaled it at the US Championship 6 days later. Jones did not compete this week in Glasgow due to injury. Well, a team of experts in South China's Hainan province recorded significant progress in the artificial breeding of stony corals. The survey of the reefs comes as the world marked 11th World Wildlife Day on Sunday. Stony coral is a Class 2 species under state protection in China. Hainan South China Sea Institute of Tropical Ocean have used the latest propagation technology to breed nearly 600,000 corals in the waters of the Phoenix Island, artificial breeding of stony corals. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Vipakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibilities. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday 8 p.m. only on DD India.